We've got to be focused on the business that we are building, even when we're super busy. You know, that's the only way you get to that next level. You know, we think that the hard work and just persevering and just going and going and going is going to get us there. But what happens is we come up for air and we realize we're not as far as we want it to be. So today I want to talk to you about building your business for the future while simultaneously optimizing it for today. Think about the feeling of I need help, right? The feeling of I need help, when I say that, it sounds like I need a life vest thrown to me, right? I'm drowning, I need help, help me. We want to get you out of that mode and start thinking about how do I create the business that I need for the future, and what's the winning team look like that I need to get there. You know, I love the quote from Wayne Gretzky. Wayne Gretzky, if you guys don't know, like all-time great hockey player. He said, I skate to where the puck is going, not to where the puck has been. And I love that because it's so true on what we need to do for our business. We need to anticipate where it's going, and we need to set up for scale. We need to set up for the future. Otherwise, we're always playing catch up, right? Always playing catch up. And you guys know what I'm talking about. I mean, I've been there. I know the feeling. That's why I'm expressing it to you. I'm sure you guys have felt the same thing. And, you know, sometimes we need to hear somebody come and say, look, I know we're busy. I know we've got a lot going on, but we still need to be thinking about the future. We still need to be thinking about where we're going. We still need to be skating to where the puck is going and not just be focused on where it is. Think about your future business. You know, most people just kind of have some idea of where they want to go, right? They might have an idea, but they don't really have it dialed in where they have a vision that they could then turn into a roadmap and a plan to actually get there. So I want to walk you through that process today so that in the middle of it being busy, in the middle of it being crazy, you're not stuck, right? You're not stuck just focused on what is, you're also looking at what will be. So let's just get right into this today. Let's talk about it. I know you guys are busy. The first thing we've got to do is, you know, and some of this stuff you may have heard me talk about before, but I'm going to talk about it from a different vantage point today. All right. This is all about, like, when we talk about long term, we're talking about it in the shorter sense. We're not talking about like what's your 20-year vision, where do you want to be 20 years from now. We're saying, hey, in the game we're in today, if you're Wayne Gretzky and you're skating to where the puck's going, let's define where the puck is going, right? What's your 1 to 3 year vision? 1 to 3, I'm going to walk you through the steps of doing this today, and hopefully we could do this together as we go. All right. So your 1 to 3 year vision. When we think about our strategic plans for the business and where we want to go, we've got to, yes, we want to start off on a, you know, where do I want to be 20 years from now? Where do I want to be 10 years from now? That's all great. That gives us a general idea of where we want to go. But to be able to like really drill down, we look in a shorter time frame, 1 to 3 years, because that's all imaginable for everybody. We could all imagine like a year from now, right? We could look back and where were we a year ago? Where were we 3 years ago? Time flies. So when we look at a year to 3 years from now, what does that vision look like? So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to just write it out. You know, just literally write it out in paragraph form or bullet points, whatever works for you. 1 to 3 years from now, I'm not in the day-to-day anymore. Right? We're making $2 million a year in net profit going in my pocket. I've got an amazing team that's running everything. We're the best company in our town, right? Whatever that might be. What's just the vision? Because you've got to be able to see it. And if you can't see it, you've got to be able to feel it. You could either see it or feel it. You know, some people are like, Louis, I can't envision things. Okay, like get a feel for what you want, right? Get a feel for what you want. You don't necessarily have to see this, you know, like perfect picture painted that's you know, in vivid color. But if you try, I bet you could start to see that. But get a feel for what you want, right? Because without vision, we can't create our strategy, right? The CEO GPS says we start with the vision. Got to have a vision, right? What do I want? Then we move over to strategy. Like, what's the strategy to make that happen? Then we go into leadership because we're going to need our team. And then we go into execution, actually making that happen. That's the CEO's GPS, right? Vision, strategy, leadership, execution. Repeat. Vision, strategy, leadership, execution. Like that's your whole job. That's your whole role, right? Everything stems down from there. And there's obviously more to it, but it starts with the vision. And I can tell you, for me, anytime that I've ever felt unclear, anytime that I've ever felt either unmotivated or stressed out, and I kind of pulled out that GPS, if you will, and looked at it and said, okay, where am I uncertain? And usually, it's either the vision or the strategy. So to start there is important in the midst of it being busy. This isn't stuff that we put off for the future, right? Because this is going to help, create your values and create what's really important to you so that you're making decisions based on that. Is this decision today leading me towards this vision or leading me away from this vision? So we've got to have that done. The 1 to 3 year vision. This is key. All right. So I want everybody to commit. If you're not, I see some of you writing right now. If you're writing it out, awesome. Yeah, get it down now. Let's do it, right? Like while you're here, let's work through this. Big house on the lake, fat bank account, whatever words describe it to you. You don't have to get super detailed unless that's how you see it, right? More free time, out on the Harley, right? Second house. Business runs without me. I sold the business in 3 years. If you're ever thinking about selling your business, the time you start thinking about it, you have to think about it 3 years out because you really do need a good 3 years of solid financials to be able to get top dollar, right? So that's a good amount of time to start really prepping yourself for an exit if that's what you want to do, right? So jot a few things down real quick. Just take a minute, just couple things, just quick bullet points. Sell the business, netting this much a year in my pocket. I bought this, I bought that. I've invested this. I've gained this freedom. I've took this trip. I've donated to this organization X amount. It's quick little stuff. In the next 1 to 3 years, like this is now. This isn't like pipe dream stuff. This is like 1 to 3 years, anything you want to start happening. Remember, I'm going to keep going back to that Wayne Gretzky quote because I love it. You got to start skating to where the puck is going. Not to where it is or where it was. We got to start skating to where it's going. So we're in that time frame right now to start working on those things now. And if you're thinking about this too hard, I see some of you like, ah. Yeah, Naisha, I see you there. So if you're thinking about it too hard, it's like, just put some stuff down. You could always refine it later. The reality is the thing that comes to you first is usually what you truly want in your heart. And then your mind steps in and goes, is that what I should want? Is that really practical? What is so-and-so going to think of me? Right? All of that starts to come in. But that initial thought is usually what's real for you. Okay? 1 to 3 years from now. Put personal stuff in there too. Like, I want to be in, however you want to describe. You may get, I want to be in sick shape, or I want to have whatever % body fat, or lose 20 pounds, or be able to run a 5K. Whatever your thing is, all right? So you got that. You can build on that later, all right? You'll definitely want to take some time and journal about that and think about that. All right, so now you've got at least a general idea, even if you're like, whatever you've got written down there. If you got like, hey, I'm bathing in gold and, whatever. Lambo, Rolls Royce, like whatever your thing is, right? Like it's, your thing could totally be, retirement fund funded in 3 years. In 3 years, I want that thing funded to where I can retire at this age and be done, right? Whatever it is, okay? Everybody's got different things they want. Go with what, when you're making the list, go from your heart. Try not to go from your head on what you think you should have. So now we got the vision, all right? So now, in order to hit that vision, what are the strategic outcomes? What are the strategic outcomes that need to happen in order to make that vision a reality, right? Because we can't just like, you know, if we've got our vision and then we've got to decide what are the strategic outcomes in order to make that vision a reality. We can't just like sit there and, you know, meditate and wish it into existence, right? I'm all for meditating, I'm all for manifesting, but we've got to have real strategic objectives and know, okay, in order to get here, these things need to happen. These things need to happen. What are the outcomes that need to happen, or objectives? What are the outcomes or the objectives that need to happen? And so in order to, you know, sell your business, let's just say, you know that you need to have 3 solid years of really good financials, showing good profitability and growth. You also know, and I'm not, you know, guiding anybody to sell their business, I'm using that as an example. You also know that you need your systems and you need your processes. You need people running those systems and you need people running those processes, right? These are outcomes. We're not talking about how you're going to get those outcomes. We're just saying what needs to happen. In order for me to get this vision, what needs to be in place? You know, I need a sales machine that's consistently bringing in new business and new customers, right? I need an operations team and system that's consistently creating raving fans for my customers. I need to have ultimate clarity on my plan and my progress on that plan, as well as the control over the systems and processes. I need to generate, you know, in order to get $1 million in revenue, in order to get $1 million net profit, I need to generate $5 million in gross revenue at a 20% profit margin, right? So like, in order to get what you want, what are the outcomes that must happen? What we're doing is we're starting with the vision and we're starting to break this down, all right? You'll start to see how we do this and we start making this real tangible into what you could start doing today to start working towards this, as opposed to saying, oh, it's busy. When I come up for air, I'll work on it then. Okay, so the strategic outcomes. Things that need to happen to make the vision a reality. We don't need to, we don't need to start saying by when or any of that yet. Just what are the things? I'm going to need, you know, I'm going to need an operations manager to get me out of the day-to-day, right? I mean, everybody's vision should be to have a model business that can run without you, whether you choose that or not, but can run without you to where you could literally step away from the day-to-day and run it based on meetings, reports, scheduling time to just kind of tweak the dials. Like, I don't know about you, but that's a business. That's being the owner of a business, right? You're the owner or you're the operator. You're the CEO or you're the operator of the business. Most people are both and need to be both for a while, which is okay. But what you want to do is you want to start shifting more towards CEO and away from operator. So when we're thinking about where the business is going, start thinking about it without you as one of the pieces, right? You're not one of the components. Like, if we remove you from the business, the systems and the machine that you have built continue to run, right? They continue to run. Your job is to look at it and look for optimization points, leadership, maybe shift it and change directions, tweak it a little bit and change directions, but then your team could be the one that executes on that. That's what we want to be thinking about. So everybody's no matter what you want to do in your business, creating a model is the start of that. Creating a model is the start of that. You want to franchise, you need the model. You want to sell, you need the model. You want to have a life, you need the model. Right? Even if you don't believe that you either can step away or deserve to step away or will be able to step away or that you could afford to pay somebody to come in your place to step away, I'm challenging you to shift that thinking and start looking at your future 1-year vision, 1 to 3 year vision, and you're not in it working day to day. Doesn't mean you've dismissed your business and you don't care about it. It just means you're able to sit back and watch, as the system runs. Make a few notes. Maybe I'll make this adjustment. I'll set up a meeting. I'll talk to my director of ops. I'll talk to whoever's running the day-to-day, right? And you don't have to have a massive business to do this, I know people that have smaller companies but have removed themselves. I know people that have larger companies and they're in the trenches. And then others that have big companies and have, again, removed themselves from the day-to-day. That's where you want to be, And I'm not trying to sell you on this idea, but I want you to normalize it for yourself. Because when my first 7 years of the business, it didn't feel normal to me. I felt guilty because I had a whole, all my friends that I grew up with were my first, 7 hires other than my bookkeeper and movers. And so to step away and not be there, I felt a sense of guilt and obligation and that I don't have that camaraderie. I had the fear of well, what if they don't do it right? What if something bad happens? Right? And the reality was, I was comfortable having that sense of control and I just didn't have the skill yet to truly step away. But when we look at the vision, okay, the vision don't sacrifice your vision based on your current circumstances or your current skill set. Don't sacrifice the vision for your current circumstances or your current skill set. Maybe one of your strategic outcomes or several of your strategic outcomes needs to be some sort of skill development. Right? Or hiring someone who has that skill to be able to execute on your behalf. All right, so now we've got the strategic outcomes, the things that need to happen in order for that vision to be a reality, the tangible things. Now, in order to get those strategic outcomes, what are the success factors? What are the success factors? We've tripled sales, right, in order to get there. We've improved customer service. We've set up and documented our systems and our processes to where everyone knows the steps of what they need to do. I have a clear set of accurate reports. What are the success factors that make the strategic outcomes a reality that help to fulfill your vision? The success factors. Maybe you need to build a referral program, or you need to have a 5-star rating across all platforms, right? And we have the vision, but we've got to have the success factors of the things that you could go, check, yep. I know that we're on our way to the vision because these things are happening to hit that strategic outcome, which is leading me towards my vision. The vision is what we want to keep in our mind, right? The vision is what we want to keep in our mind. All the steps, we keep those on a sheet of paper, in a project planning software, whatever it might be, the spreadsheet. The steps we keep somewhere else. The milestones, right? The success factors, we keep that somewhere else. The vision is what we want to see every day. Because the reality is every day you're on this journey, you know, to go back to Wayne Gretzky, right? It's like he's skating to the puck. I'm not a hockey player, so I don't know how much energy it takes to skate to the puck, to be honest with you. So, but he's skating to the puck. He's still got to skate there to get to it, right? I would imagine he's hustling to get there before anybody else, right? So there's going to be times where you're exerting a lot of energy and you don't know if you're going to get there, right? So we've got to stay focused on the vision. We've got to stay focused on the vision. That's going to allow us to have, you know, the patience, but yet the persistence to make progress that we need to move towards those strategic outcomes, right? Because the plan can change along the way. So can the vision, but, you know, typically you're going to just start adding to the vision. If you start taking away from the vision, it's only because you're overwhelmed and you're starting to lose confidence in your ability to hit that vision. So you're like, let me lower the target. You know, and that's why we just want to be real with ourselves. I really believe that, you know, any desires that we have that are in our heart were put there for a reason. And if we have the ability to go and provide a service that helps people in order to fulfill that desire by doing good, then it was put there for a reason, because we need to go do good and we need to go make that happen. You know, if you're in a service business and you go out there, you don't, you know, a lot of you are in the moving business. I was in the moving business for years. And I had to remind myself that the service that we provide matters. It really does matter. You know, having just recently gone through a move myself, it makes a difference in the person's world. It makes a difference in their stress level. It makes a difference in how they show up for their day after the move, the week after the move, 2 weeks, 2 months, all based on the results of that service. So you are making an impact every day in somebody's life. You know, you want to remember that and connect to that as well. Okay, so now after we have the success factors, we want to list out the obstacles to achievement. The obstacles to achievement. What's going to get in your way? Can you guys see that? Okay. What's going to get in your way? At the top of most people's list is no time, no money. Right? I don't have the right people. But when you get clear on the vision and it's compelling, you're like, I want that, right? I want that. Then you don't just let it stay up here as some big, you know, overwhelming thought of like, man, how do I get there? And you just start chunking it down. What are strategic outcomes? What are the success factors? Okay. What are the obstacles that are now in my way? You know, most people could list the things that are in their way more than they could list out the things that are working well. So start making that list. There's nothing wrong. You have to identify the obstacles in the way. That becomes part of the plan. We're making this simple, but it's not easy, right? No one said this is easy, getting to the next level. No one said it's easy to be proactive in your business and your life and skate to where the puck's going instead of just living for the day. But that's what you're here. That's what you signed up for. Profit in business, thrive in life. All right, so now we've got the obstacles to achievement. Right? You list those out. So if you're following me, you've got, if you know, you want to set up a document, you really want to lay this out, which I highly recommend everybody does, right? Schedule some time to do it. You know, on a Sunday morning with that Sunday morning energy or whatever, or whenever you're feeling clear and crisp, you know, write out the vision. Come back. What are the strategic objectives? What are the success factors? What's holding me back? What are the obstacles to achievement? And then we start looking at it and we say, okay, what do we need to do to start closing the gap between where I am and the vision that I've created for myself? This is it right here, right? This is the difference. Closing the gap in your business. If you close the gap in your business, you think about that. Okay, where's my vision? Where am I now? What do I need to do to bring those closer together? That's what makes it fun. That's what makes it exciting. That's what will like really truly make you feel like I'm after something and not just like, oh man, another day of this shit, right? Like, cause you don't really, you're like, oh yeah, I might make more money. Oh yeah, maybe I could afford to get some help, life preserver, to come in and relieve me, right? If we truly have the vision of where we're going, and we say, hey, look, all I'm doing now is I'm just closing the gap. That's it. It's a whole different energy. It's a whole different energy because I don't know about you, but like when I have a vision and I'm not there, which is, you know, pretty much my whole life because as soon as I get the vision and hit the vision, I've set another vision, right? And for a long time, that created turmoil, right? That created unease because I was always feeling like I needed to, I got to get to this. When I get there, I'll be happy. But I'm like, this is crazy. I'm saying when I get there, I'll be happy. But every time I get there, I just push it further out. When am I going to let myself be happy? Do I stop pushing the vision out? No. I recognize where I'm at in the process. I'm closing the gap. And when you're closing the gap, you say, hey, I've got a plan. I'm going to be persistent in going towards that plan. And I'm going to have patience while I make the progress. Right? I've got the plan. I've got to be patient. See, people used to tell me I need to be patient. I didn't like that. But when you have a plan and you know you're actively working towards that plan, okay, what's the point of not being patient? Right? What's the point of not going, hey, I'm making progress. I'm moving towards, I'm closing the gap. I'm bringing myself closer to that vision every day. And if you decide along the way to keep moving that vision up and making it bigger and greater, just make sure you acknowledge that that's what you're doing and acknowledge the progress that you're making, right? Because the gap is what creates that unsettledness. The gap is what creates that unhappiness. Right? And in business and life, if there's a way that you see your business should be or that you see your life should be and you're not there, that creates unhappiness or unease. And so the question becomes, what can I do about it? All right? The next question, you should write these down. The question becomes, what can I do about it? When you see that gap in anything. The next after that is, am I willing to do it? Right? Am I willing to do it? And be real with yourself. Right? Because sometimes you're not willing, and that's okay. You know? That's okay. Sometimes you got this vision, you're not willing to do what it takes. Okay, well then what you need to do is just, that point you lower the vision. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. As long as what you see, you know, what you see is your vision, you know you've got a plan, you're making progress, and you've got patience to get it, is what matters. If you lower that, but it still feels good at the lower level, that's okay. Right? This society we're in, the Instagram, everybody like, you know, showing off this and showing off that, it makes people feel like they need to get to this unreachable level. If you find the level, you've got the plan, you've got the persistence, you've got the patience, you're good, right? And so the next part of that is, what do I need to do when there's a gap? Am I willing to do it? We said if no, then you need to make adjustments to what it is that you want. But if yes, what are the steps? What do I need to do to go get it? Right? What are the strategic outcomes? What are the success factors? Is this making sense? Let me see you guys here. Does this make sense, what I'm saying to you guys? Okay? Right now, everything you're doing, it's when you feel yourself getting stressed, just say, hey, I'm just closing the gap. That's it. That's it. And I can't close it overnight. I can't fix it overnight. There's always going to be stuff in the business. There's always going to be that next thing, or there's going to be that person you need to hire, or there's going to be that system that's not right, but you don't quite have the time to sit down and fix it. Right? As long as you know that you're in the process of closing the gap and you're making progress towards it, it'll allow you to, give yourself a little bit of grace, a little bit of ease, because you will operate better in a less stressed out place. We don't need that to fuel us. What we need to fuel us is just the recognition of the gap. Right? I want to go here. I'm here. Work. It's more about tension and healthy tension of closing the gap than it is stressing yourself out to fuel yourself to do things. So with all that, then what we need to do is we've got to build the winning team. We've got to build the winning team for the business that you're going to be, not the business that you are. In order to build your business for the future, you've got to build the winning team for where you want to go. When you follow sports organizations and they start putting teams together, right? And by the way, a great team doesn't necessarily mean just the best players, right? Even though that's like what they're trying to do in the NBA now. But it's like, it doesn't always mean the best players. It means the best game plan, the best coach that's able to get those players to execute on the playbook. But if we're constantly focused on today's playbook and saying, I need help, that's the equivalent of like a team, that's like, man, we don't have a guard. Get anybody, bring them in here, hire somebody. We need help. And sometimes you need help, and you need to get the help. But usually what happens, what I see a lot, is people get to a place where they're good. And they're not really thinking about the future. And if they are, they look at it and go, okay, well, right now we've got enough people and we've got enough team to handle what we've got. Once we get to a place where we can't handle it anymore, then we start waving the flag looking for help. Right? I mean, I've been guilty of that. Who's been guilty of that? Like waiting until you really need the help and go, okay, let's get the help. And I get the justification. It's like, why spend the money to bring somebody in? We have enough people to do what we need to do today. But that's when we're strategizing on our current playbook. And we're not taking into consideration where we're going. We're not thinking about skating to the puck. We're just like, the puck's underneath us. Do I need help right now with this? Managing what I have. You want to set yourself up for scale. Set yourself up for success, and that means bringing in people before you need them. Before you need them, need help. Like that's just such a disempowering energy, right? I need somebody. I need help. No wonder you're stressed out, right? I mean, and I'm saying it to you, I'm saying it to myself. It's like, no wonder we're stressed out. We're constantly talking, I need help. Get the help that you need to run the day-to-day, without question. But then say, okay, my 1 to 3 year vision, the strategic outcomes, the success factors, what am I going to need to make that happen without me? Without me is one of the moving pieces. All right, because what we tend to do is like, I'll work on it until it gets too overwhelming, and then I'll pass it off to somebody. And so when we think about building the team, you need to think about two things: investment opportunity and freedom value. Because I know, listen, I know what it's like to run on tight margins, and you know, it's like, man, I got to hire somebody. You know, they're going to cost me 50, 60, 70,000 a year, full salary. And it's easy to say, we'll figure out how to do it ourselves. But that's not thriving, that's surviving. Right? That's just surviving. It's a different energy. We've got to have a plan. We got to have a vision. We got to have a plan. We got to have those outcomes that we're after, the success factors. We got to know what the obstacles are. We got to recognize that we're looking to close the gap and say, okay, what do I need and who do I need to make that happen? What's it going to cost me? Instead of going, I can't afford somebody, what's it going to cost me? Right? Whether you go online and say, I need this type of person. If you don't know the type of person, start researching random job titles. Operations manager, general manager. What's the difference between the two? What do they make? What do they make in my area? Right? Start looking that stuff up. And say, okay, I'm going to need that person as part of my plan. And if I bring them in today, here's the investment that it's going to cost me, the investment value, the investment opportunity, but it's going to help me get here. So yes, there'll be a little bit of a dip in my cash flow. There'll be a little bit of dip in my profits, but that's where your belief in yourself comes in. And your belief in yourself comes from your belief in your plan. Not just bringing somebody in to help, right? Bringing somebody in to help you build, to give you support. You know, we think, oh, I'm going to bring somebody in. I'm going to have to train them. I'm going to have to, you know, I'm going to have to do all this. I'm going to have to, like, yeah, maybe at the beginning. But it's the same thought process of like, hey, I'm going to get healthy. I'm going to need to stop, you know, ordering McDonald's on Uber Eats every day. And I'm going to actually have to go and buy some healthy food, and I'm going to have to cook it, or I'm going to have to go to the gym, or I'm going to have to go on a walk. You're going to have to do hard work at the beginning, but you do the work to make it how you want it. We need to remember, when you're building your business for the future, that the work that you're putting in, it's all about your association. It's all about how you're associating what you're doing every day. And when your association is, this is hard work, oh, this is so much, it's not going to feel good. The stress, the overwhelm, the lowering of vision and expectations come from that, right? Your aspirations come down. You're like, oh, it's a lot of work to shoot this far. But when our association is, this is temporary. This is temporary. Everything you're doing now, if you allow it to be, could be temporary. All the shit you don't like doing, work hard to get out of doing it. That's the key right there. That's the key. I don't like this, work hard to change this. Doesn't mean work hard forever, right? Sometimes we start to look at, oh, I don't want to work that hard. But sometimes you've got to work hard just to get something to be the way you want it. Where that becomes a feeling of defeat is when we work hard to just work hard, not to actually get an outcome, that strategic outcome that's going towards our vision, right? So yeah, you're going to have to, you know, bite the bullet. You're going to have to, you know, hire somebody. You're not good at it. Maybe you've got to pay a recruiter to do it. You don't have the time to do it. Maybe you've got to pay a recruiter to do it. You know, it is what it is. It's an investment opportunity. So now you know how much it's going to cost. You start looking at, okay, what do I need to do to make up for that? Because at first, you need leverage, right? You need leverage. You need you know, like everybody put their hands up when we were talking, who needs help right now? So like you need the life vest, right? Just to be able to, like, you know, you're trying to hold on to the business and swim, you know, and get to shore with one arm. You know, you need someone to at least like help you along the way. Forget about building the boat to cruise with. That's, you know, you're not even there yet. But you get the help that you need. You get the leverage. You start to build the team. What's that going to cost you? You know, let's say somebody's going to cost you $5,000 a month. Okay. Well, what do you need to do in business to get that? Let's say your gross profit is like 50%, just to keep it, I'm not saying that's what it should be, it's just 50% just to keep the math easy for me to do. All right, so it's going to cost you $5,000 to get a person a month. All right, so $5,000, it's $60,000 a year. So now what you need to do is say, okay, if I'm at 50% gross profit, meaning half of my money goes to just the cost of providing the service that I provide right out the gate, I need to actually make more than $5,000 to hire this person. I need to make $10,000 to hire this person, just to break even, right? And of course, I'm not adding in FICA and taxes and all that. I'm keeping it real simple, right? So it's like, okay, $10,000. I was doing this with a private client Monday, and it was like, okay, so what's the number? So what's your average move? It was moving company owner. What's your average move? I forget what it was, but I want to say it was like $2,000. So I'm like, okay, so to get $2,000, so I'm sorry, to get $5,000, your average move is $2,000. So if we take the $10,000 that you need to get, right, and then take away half of it, and you're left with $5,000 before you pay expenses, so 10,000, I could do it in my head, I just want to make sure. 10,000 divided by 2,000, I'm like, that's 5 moves a month. Can you book 5? What can you do to book 5 more moves? Can you hustle to go get what you need? That's what you need. Remember, we got to work hard for what we need to get us to where we want to be. Instead of just waving the white flag, like, oh, SOS, please, somebody help, right? We want to really get aggressive. Believe in yourself. If you've got the vision, if you've got the plan, I'm telling you exactly what I told you to write out. If you take an hour and just write all this out, you'll go, okay, who do I need? You know, yeah, it's going to dip into the money right now. How do I get that money? How do I get that money? That's it. You've got to get that money because we need the team. We need the team because if we try to build the future business with us as one of the main components, well, what do you have 1 to 3 years from now? You've got the same thing you've got now, just more people to manage, more money, more stress. And I can tell you, the more money doesn't balance out, the more stress. Right? We want to, you know, profit and thrive. I keep this on my desk every day to remind myself, like everything needs to, you know, like that's the lens that you've got to look through. Like, yeah, I can make more money, but what's that doing to my thriving in life? And if it's not bringing that up at the same time, then the equation's all off. All off. So I'm going to take questions here if you guys have any, and then I got some great questions that I want you to share, a little exercise. We're going to put you in breakout groups. If you do have any questions, I'm just going to review this real quick. Go ahead and just hit the reactions button and raise hand, and I will get to you here. So just as a recap, because I saw a few people jump on late, all right, you're going to want to get out a document, sheet of paper, notebook, pen and paper, whatever you've got. Write your 1 to 3 year vision, okay? 1 to 3 year vision of where you want your company to be, where you want your life to be, right? It all goes together, right? Just saying I want a bigger company sometimes isn't the motivating factor. The motivating factor is what's that actually going to give you in your life? What are the strategic outcomes that must happen in order for that vision to become a reality? And you always have the recordings of this, guys, so you could go back and watch. And then what are the success factors that need to happen in order to make those outcomes happen? What are your obstacles to achievement? What's in your way from getting there? Because I know you all have a big vision of what you want to do. Even if you haven't truly, clearly defined it, it's there. I know you've got it. I know you've got things you want. I know you got things, how you want things to be and how you want things to stop being. we've got to define it. We've got to figure out what are the obstacles, and we got to make a plan to start closing the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Where you are, where you want to be. And then you build the winning team, not just for the business that you're in, but the business that you're going towards. Where people get caught up on this is they bring somebody in, but they lose sight of the vision, and they're like, I don't know what to have this person do. That's because you didn't have the plan up front, right? Use these as journaling prompts. Write this stuff out. You'll have the plan. You'll know what to do with those people and that investment opportunity. I forgot to even get into the freedom value, right? Think about that when you're hiring somebody, the freedom value that it gives you, right? Then you've got to look at it and say, look what I've been able to accomplish with the stress, the overwhelm, all the hours, all the burden, all the responsibility. What could I accomplish if I was able to free myself up a little bit and, you know, like take care of myself a little bit and just give my mind a little space to think, a little time to think? It's a lot more than you probably give yourself credit for. Hey, my friend, before you go, you've got to hurry and watch these next few videos over here. They will absolutely help you take your moving company to the next level. Go watch them now, and I'll see you over there.